Hello and a very good evening to you, and welcome to another edition of Cafe Clairvoyance. This is a show designed to entertain and give you insight into other people's lives, especially as we go into the Tuesday show. So it's lovely to welcome you people here. And for the first few minutes or so, we're just going to talk about a little bit about the timings and things like this and how things work, and then we're going to really get into the show on the hour there. So we look forward to it. And big honk from the producer. She wanted to say a big hello, which is Deborah, my wife there. Thank you very much, Deborah. And I think now it's time to introduce the show. And this is Cafe Clairvoyance. I'm Phil Griggs, your host, and welcome along. Okay, very good evening to you. Well, we started the show a little bit earlier tonight, not because we were going to allow you to fall short of information, but basically just to get the technical stuff here, the technical stuff out there, because sometimes so we do this during the show here, and just let you know the running time. So tonight is the Tuesday show, which starts at 9 o'clock in Spain, 8 p.m. in the UK. Runs on for an hour, and Tuesday night are always interesting nights because we have special guests, we have featured guests, and tonight's a very special night. We have a very special guest for you. But before that, just let you know all the dates and times of the shows. So Sunday, starting on Sunday, we start the show there, which is 7 o'clock in the evening, which is the Sunday spiritual show. Sunday spiritual show, Cafe Clairvoyance, and that's the show where I host. We do talks on astrology, the energy around the time and the time when things are going on. But also what I do out there is the other part of the show, which is to do live mini one-to-one readings. We also have lots of themes going on. Your stories. We have poetry from the spiritual wizard, and we also have stories which you guys can write in. Anything you like, which is relating to spirituality or the times we're going through, and we would absolutely love to hear your stories. And also, we during that show there, again, last approximately an hour, we do the live readings, which involves numerology, color reading, and also introduces numerology and mediumship. So all that combined there, very exciting show, very fast paced, very lively, fast paced show. And then on the Tuesday show, such as tonight, always starts at 9 o'clock in the evening in Spain, which is, as I say, about 8 p.m. in the EU, and 8 p.m. in the UK rather. And what this show does here is a show which we invite a guest to come along and have a chat. We always want someone special to come along and show their spiritual side or something about their lives here, almost like looking into the keyhole to see what's going on in their lives and what they'd like to share. So we have a very special guest, which I'll introduce very shortly. And on Wednesday mornings, which is tomorrow morning, we have the Spiritual Astrology Show, which is my good colleague Guillermo. We both come onto the show here and we share the hour there, which starts at 11 o'clock in the morning in the EU and is 10 o'clock in the UK. And basically what happens here is we have a lovely show, talk about all the astrology, talk about everything that's going on, and then what we would like to invite you to do is to join in with the show, and we have a great time working with astrology, working with numerology, clairvoyance, mediumship, all these different tools here, and have an absolutely special time. And I think a lot of people here really enjoy all three different shows. And if you're new to this show, a big welcome to you. Very big welcome to you. I'm Phil Griggs, your host. I'm a medium and a clairvoyant. I also work in psychotherapy, hypnosis, and also do astrology. But we put the show together as a feature show, a very entertaining, engaging show to bring the fun side of spirituality and also to get the news out there. Get the news out there, what's going on energy-wise and what's going on spiritual-wise. And the show here is run by myself, my wife, who's a producer, and we also have other people who come in and help on the team. So we're really grateful to those people. But for tonight we've got a very, very special night. And I think, first of all, though, let's introduce the evening with a little bit of introductory music from Sammy Hammy. Sammy Hammy is the chap here who's a composer in Germany, and he makes all the music for here. And we really appreciate his work here, and we did an interview with him not so long back. Anyway, here's the intro, and speak to you in a moment. Hello and welcome back again. And we'd just like to say we've got a very, very special evening for you tonight. Now, this lady is extraordinary, who we're about to bring on this evening. Her name is Yanina Rubini. She's a poet, she's an author, she's a blogger. She's a very busy mother of two, but she's a very strong spiritual core. But there's a big part to this here. She also runs a beautiful restaurant called Cafe Tribus, which is in Benitachell. And absolutely fabulous lady, and we're going to introduce her to you now because I think she's got a lot to tell us. We also encourage you guys out there to also write in if you've got any stories or questions you've got about veganism, anything else there. We'd love to hear from you, love to join in. And also, she's also going to read her poetry, and we've got lots more going on in the show. So it gives me, she's itching in the background. I can see her on the camera, itching in the background. Going, will you hurry up? Will you hurry up and get me on? God, I think it's a busy woman. Yes. Anyway, it gives me great pleasure. Great pleasure. Here is Yanina Rubini. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Very well. Look, the audience are out there already. They're clapping away. They're a bit itchy to have you on here. So it's lovely to see you. Love the sign behind you as well.
Oh, thank you.
We can't, but here it says Rebus, but actually says it's Tribus because it's part of the ring. But
yeah, my mom made a few years ago and still standing when we opened. My mother made this.
Your mother made this. Actually fabulous.
Yeah. She's very crafty, so now you know where I get it from.
Okay.
It's still there. So good.
Lovely. Well, it's absolutely fabulous to welcome you onto the show. And
yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Oh, we've been planning this for a little while, and you've got an absolutely fabulous restaurant over there, which those of you who don't know is in the Costa Blanca region of Spain. It's close to Javier, really. Would you say it's close to Javier?
Yeah, it's very close to Javier. It's between Javier and Teulada and Moraira. You have to go
that sort of middle road there. Okay. And so I think it's a good idea to start off talking about veganism. And because when we read the press and read the details of what's going on out there at the moment, I gather veganism is becoming more of a popular thing. More people are getting into this. So why are they getting into this? What's it about veganism which makes this so interesting and such a big craze now? If I call it like this, it's like Tribus, it's like Tribus, it's like tribe, the vegan tribe. It sounds fantastic.
It is. It totally is, and we are. It starts different for people. It starts very different how they go vegan. We met so many different type of people here in the restaurant, and many people are very, very spiritual about it. That's how they become spiritual first, and then they go vegan after. Then you have the other way around, where people go vegan for health or for environmental reasons. And like me, that was my path. I started researching. Actually, somebody said to me, "Don't watch this documentary because you're gonna become a vegan." And I was no way. I love beef too much. I'm Argentinian, but I watched the documentary, and she was right. She was very right. And then we watched another documentary and another, and at first it was an environmental thing, it was a health thing, it was But then it became about also we started looking into it in a spiritual way. What happens when I eat an animal that has the same functions that I have? They have the same care for the young that I have. They would suffer from it as much as I had. Obviously, after I had children, I felt it much closer to me. And also being a bit of a feminist for many years, I heard the phrase somebody saying, females are in the animal kingdom also, the ones that are slave for milking eggs. So there was a vegetarian argument there for me done too.
Okay.
And it just became one after the other. But now to me it's just the best thing that I ever done, because it has allowed me to come to a place in my health, mental, physical, and spiritual,
Yes.
that I always tell everybody. It started when I made the decision to go vegan. It started there. It took time to know things and to learn things, but the moment that I realized it's just not about me anymore, I need to think a bigger picture. I need to think about the planet, about the animals, about all the people. You know, it's not just about animals, it's about all the people in other countries that are suffering the impact of our decisions, or the way our diet here, the way the clothes we wear. They're suffering a big impact. I'm from Argentina, and it's a social problem. It's a social problem with children that don't have enough to eat, where animals are being fed, and the product exported to other countries. So as a way also for me to be an activist for my own country in here,
Yes.
to tell you, please, to stop bringing that stuff here. My people need it there.
I'll tell you a true story.
It's
Yes, I'll tell you a true story about meat. Tell you a true story here. And I absolutely love the fact here from your that you're from that beautiful Latin part of the world, and I know you've got an absolutely fabulous restaurant. When I was a younger man, I was in the Royal Navy, and I was on submarines, and around the time of the Falklands War, I was sent down there on my submarine. Now this is how crazy life gets. This is how mad life gets, and you realise here just how mad this is, because loading on the submarine before it sailed was all this meat coming on.
wow.
Which, okay, all right, meat's come on, because no one knew any different then. This is back in the 80s. No one really thought
No.
vegetarianism was just like, oh, you're weird, you're nuts if you do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, looking at the meat that came on the submarine, I stopped when we were sort of having a break. I looked at the label. It was from Argentina.
Oh, of course.
That's nuts. It's just nuts. It makes you realise, why are we doing such crazy things? We import one thing, and then we want to go and sink everybody in the next thing. So it's mad.
It's crazy.
Yes.
And it's about when you start taking control.
Yes.
When you take control what you eat, and you start looking at labels and start looking at what you're eating, you start realizing, oh my God, so much of the food is not good for consumption. You know, most of the food really, when you go to the supermarket and you become a vegan or plant-based, and you don't want to eat things like palm oil or white flour or white sugar, literally the supermarket, you realize, has no food for you. Very little food. And it's a problem, I think. I've been very ignorant for a long time about health and food, but it's a wonderful feeling. And I tell people always, we had a restaurant for 10 years, and it wasn't vegan before. In fact, it was very much meat, cheese, and bacon center. It was. Some people could not believe that we transitioned. We had signs in the restaurant that say things like, going vegetarian is a huge mistake. You know, like mistake, and funny things like that. We were very offensive. I have come and said to people, I'm so sorry that I was the meat eater before, that now I have to deal with. It's my karma. I said, it's my karma now. I have to deal with it.
Yes.
But yes, it's something I want to say to people, because when you become a vegan or a plant-based or any type of activist or any type of spiritual person, you are aware of a truth that you want to tell people.
Yes.
Because you want them to feel better and to do better, and so a lot of people will call you a hypocrite, because no long ago you were eating meat, or no long ago you were using that plastic, or you were doing this. And they say you have no right to speak up because you were just doing it. And I said to that, no way. You have all the right to speak up, not to be mean, but to speak up for those that can do it for themselves. And do not feel that pressure, because we all make mistakes. And what's important is that we're learning from it, not that we keep defending systems that don't work anymore and we need to change.
Now, what was interesting is I've never really been into veganism. My sister-in-law is a vegan. She tells me a little bit about it. Really didn't take much to it. But then I came along to your restaurant. And I went, wow. Because I was asking everybody, is this not meat? What is this that you're cooking? It is so tasty, so well cooked, it's absolutely beautiful. And just so you know, guys, before the lockdown there, what was actually going on there was we're having, sort of imagine a long table. And around it seats at least 20 people. And you have these vegan nights, which is right, we have these vegan nights, and they're party nights. And I'll tell you what, they are the best social party nights you could ever come across, with different people. You just sit next to people, work your way around, have a great time, drinks, laughs. The food is immense, it's fantastic. And I'll tell you what, I turned vegetarian probably about 2 to 3 months ago. And the reason being is because I just wasn't digesting meat very well. I decided I'm not going to eat it. And it's the best thing I did. So anybody out there who sometimes has digestive problems or feels a little bit, oh God, why does that meal take so long to digest when you're eating meat? Go and, well, I'll tell you what, go and have a look at this website. Go to this website, costablanca.com. And you'll find out everything there. Now, because I feel here, myself, I've got more energy, I feel better, I enjoy the meals more, and I don't eat so much. Which, when I was eating meat, I was eating more, and now I don't eat so much, but I enjoy it more. So much.
Because we tend to eat a lot of carbs when we eat regular, like even if you don't, let's just take the meat out of the equation, but people tend to eat a lot of processed flours, and those are carbs, and carbs are very easily digested. It takes about 20 minutes to digest carbs. So within half an hour, you're going to be hungry again. You can eat a whole cake and be hungry afterwards, because your body will just, it's very fast. As vegetable, fruits, beans, they're protein. They take time to digest. They take time to make you feel full much longer. And overall, you eat better. You're not picking in between hours so much.
Yeah.
It's a very healthy lifestyle. I said, if you don't think you can go vegan, you don't have to go vegan overnight. You can just try on really go on a plant-based diet, and if you need to you're going to be fussy. If you need to break here and there for a craving, just do it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty. Guilt is the worst thing we can do to ourselves. Guilt, because we're always trying, no matter what. Even if we fail, we're trying to do something better for ourselves, for the rest. So guilt is the worst thing. It's the worst thing for ourselves and for other people.
Okay.
Which is, if you couldn't do it, just try tomorrow again.
Okay.
Every day is an opportunity.
I've got to come back to this little comment here because it does make me laugh. Here. This is Helen Grady. Now, she comes on the show as well. She's a spiritual leader, but she's put here, you don't eat much. Ha ha ha. But actually, I'll tell you the truth. I've got to tell you here. Yes, I used to have a huge appetite, but I don't eat as much now as what I used to. So she's laughing there, thinking, I know what you're like. When we used to go out for Chinese meals and eat all sorts of different types of food, I used to eat loads, but now I don't eat so much. So there we go. But so guys out there, any questions about being vegan, just write in here. This is what we'd love you to do. Great opportunity to find out some information here. And also, you'll find that as we go through the show, you'll just see how passionate Rubini is here. Yanina here is. As we go through the show, say your surname rather than your Christian name. And just seeing here just how passionate she is about her spirituality, just as much as being a vegan.
Well, it's for me, one time I came across this thing, we always talk about Buddhists, Indians, even Rastafaris, Zionists, they all at the very least vegetarian. They will not eat animal meat. There's a very, and I remember coming across this chart online, and it really changed my view, because it was a list of the highest frequency of food. We are energy, so the food interacts with us when we eat it. and the more the higher the frequency of the food, the higher your frequency. And the frequency of food is given for the amount of water it has. Water is electric. It has a lot of, and so the fruit, veg are highest in frequency. Then you have a different degrees of different foods. But then at the bottom there's meat with no frequency whatsoever. In fact, with a very negative impact on your overall magnetic field and how you see the world, and how even to the down to the how your pineal gland is working, how clean it is, how well it is, how open it is. So I came across that chart, and that made it so much easier for me too, because I realized now every time I look at food, I'm just looking more as if I was Mario Bros and there was a mushroom, and I'm like, I need that. And I eat it because I know what it's doing to my body and to my frequency, and how it's allowing me to do better meditations, do better exercise, write better, concentrate better. So even if you cannot go vegan right now, which is completely understandable, dropping meat it will do wonders for your spiritual. I believe, it's my belief, but for your spirituality. And you just get into a frequency of love and kindness and compassion for all there is around you, and for the planet that is creating you and giving you life. We should show kindness and respect, especially in these days when we are seeing so many people so confused with how to react with what we're living right now. And I'm very glad to see that, like you said before, veganism is on the rise. There's a problem because we go to the supermarket and they're running out of vegan stuff like that.
Yes,
they get a new ice cream and it's gone. They get a new this and it's gone. And it's because not just vegans are buying it. Everybody want to try it. And I'm very grateful for that. And I hope that the brands can keep up with the demand and we can all start using more and more of these products. And also, what I like is to see is people eating more organic vegetable and more raw diets and things like that. That would boost our immune system so that we will not worry about viruses anymore, because your body will be.
That's right. That's true. I totally agree with that. That there's no viruses in the vegetarian side here. Now, going alkaline, because a lot of vegan food is alkaline. Now, it's because meat, fish, a lot of other food types here, Coca-Cola, one of the worst here, is all acid. Now, naturally, our bodies are alkaline. Now, we're just on the pH scale, of the alkaline. And so what's a very strong alkaline? Just think of a couple of alkaline foods which are really good, keeping your body into the alkaline state. If you would say to someone, okay, so they're still gonna eat meat because they choose to eat meat, but they want to eat something which has high alkaline in it. What sort of food types would you say would be the best to high alkaline?
We have had a lot of success convincing people of 60-40 ratio of eating. Try at least to make 60% of food alkaline, and then the rest work slowly towards a better lifestyle. In fact, I don't believe an only alkaline diet is healthy either, because you need to maintain a balance. It's always about balance. It's not about going one. People that go too healthy can still have physical issues because it's stressful to maintain that kind of eating. Can be many things, but alkaline, is, for me, it's always been an experiment. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a chef. I like to read a lot. I'm a little bit of I like to know about everything. So I came across this Dr. Sebi, which is an African doctor, which was the first one to promote this alkaline diet. But basically, my favorite food's alkaline. What I always have to have at home, and I can make a lot of things with, are courgettes, chickpeas, tomatoes, chickpeas, quinoa, organic if possible. Fruits, oranges. See, the thing is, alkaline food is food that is exposed, is grown overground, not underground. It's exposed to a lot of sunlight, to a lot of the elements outside. And what Dr. Sebi proposed is that he called it the God molecule. And I couldn't understand that for a long time, what he meant by that, the God molecule. I'm like, he's a doctor. What's he talking about, God? I couldn't not make sense of it. And then when I became spiritual, I sort of started understanding a little bit more what he meant by that, how the food, we all heard about the torus shape and how we have this magnetic field around us. And so there are certain foods that represent that pattern. And that's what is meant by the God molecule. It's food in nature that is ready to eat as it is. And you could prepare it, you can cook it, but it's naturally ready to eat.
Okay.
The food, like a potato, is not ready to eat. Potato needs to be cooked for the most part. Sweet potato needs, anything growing on the ground needs to be cooked. And that's the thing. Think about food that is alive. That's what I like to say to people. Food that is alive, the moment you get it, you can eat it, then it's good for you.
There's nothing
And
like, I must admit, coming around to your restaurant and actually tasting some of the food there, and the food types, I'm even wondering what I'm eating because it tastes so good. It tastes good to me. Now, just to do a little bit of name dropping here. Because your husband Neil, I believe he used to be a chef to someone very famous.
He was there, but he cooked mostly for Pink and the Goo Goo Dolls and some American bands. That was mostly him. He was around for Paul McCartney. You like to say that, but his main job was with American bands, really.
Okay.
For a long time.
And Sir Paul McCartney. Fantastic. So, because as we know, Sir Paul McCartney, and you get that vegetarian range now, which is in.
It's great to start. It's a great place to start. I always said, it's a great place to start, and it's not ideal. But the first time when we went vegan, I gotta say, all I fed my kids for about a week was white pasta and peanut butter sandwiches. I just didn't know what to do. We were completely lost, and then slowly we started trying new things, and for Neil, and the reason I wanted to say that is the reason people say that our food is good. It's because I realized a lot of the vegan or vegetarian places around have been very passionate vegan people. They wanted to open a business.
Yeah.
And we have been always very passionate about food in general and our business.
Yeah.
And then we switched to vegan. So we just adapted all our passion to vegan food.
Lovely.
But we did a long way before to learn the service industry, to learn the food, and also to learn to be different to that, to have our own edge and to show things can be done much differently than today. We're all about the experience for people more than the food. The food tastes good because it's good. It's cooked with love. The kitchen is open. You can go and have a look whenever you want. But it's also because it's an all-around experience. When you come in until you leave the door, we try to be accommodating.
Yes, interesting. Just to give you some feedback of what people are saying. Sarah Lou Knott says all meat eaters should try Tribus. Just have a good meal. It's so tasty, and only one meal without a meal. And it's fantastic. One meal without meat. Sorry, big one. Just read the writing there. There's absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much, Sarah Lou, because I think it's absolutely incredible.
They're great customers of ours, and they always join our classes. And Paul is always coming in the morning to the one-to-one classes with Neil and Sarah. They just comment, and we're
fantastic.
Really
Fantastic.
They're amazing people.
Fantastic. And Helen Grady says Linda McCartney started her own range years ago. Yep, that's very, very popular. And I must admit, I love all her stuff. Brilliant. And the producer says, I think, what's the producer been up to here? Let's see what she's been doing, because I gather the producer's running around somewhere. And I'm just wondering where she is. In fact, producer, are you out there? She's just responding to all your messages here. Anyway, we need to give a big round of applause to everybody. And so far we have 39 hearts, we have 17 thumbs up, and we have one a laughter. So someone's laughing somewhere. And
vegans are reaction.
So those of you who just joined the show, this is Cafe Clairvoyance. I'm Phil Griggs. This is my great guest on tonight. This is Yanina Rubini, and she's a poet. She's an active feminist. She's also the co-owner of Cafe Tribus, which is a vegan restaurant in Benitachell, and we're so far discussing about vegan food. Now, as we move on a little bit through the hour here, tell us a little bit about what's got you into writing. What's this part about writing?
I wish I could tell you how I chose writing, but I always thought writing chose me, because my mom is she teaches literature in Argentina in school, in high school and college, and she's always had a lot of books around the house, even in the bathroom. We have piles of books everywhere. She wouldn't pay for TV cable or anything. She thought it was a waste of money. So we have to read a lot. and I don't know, I just always loved poetry. I write a lot of different things, but I just really, really love poetry. And I think it's such a free way to express yourself. And I find that poetry had a very bad name for a long time because it became very romanticized. But now I'm seeing a lot of poets that are coming up with amazing stuff that is not just it's not just relevant to what we live in, but it's also very moving, very human. I believe we need to move away from this romantic love between two people only, and we need to open up to a community feel, to a feel where we can all make everybody feel good and involved in. And my poetry, my book of poetry that I published just now, I started writing it when I was like about 17. It's a lot of poems that I wrote then, some when I had my children, and some I finished now. And it's called Obscurousness. It's a made up word, made up. Well, I made it made up in Spanish, and I translated it the best I could to English.
Okay.
And it means the place where the shadows of the soul live, which we all have.
The shadows
and they are
of the soul. Wow, fantastic.
And they're a blessing. They're a blessing. For a long time, I believe they were a curse. They were all these thoughts, negative thoughts. When you're a teenager, especially struggling with life, reality, and I had very negative thoughts, very, suicidal thoughts. Heavy stuff, like everybody else. Which is, I just felt that people struggle alone a lot. That we have this need to open up and talk about human nature, to be worried, to be scared, to feel lonely. And that's what motivated me to continue that, and to see and to keep writing, to show people that it gets better once you accept your shadows as blessings to learn and to move on in life, and to take them as lessons. You are not afraid of them anymore. They just become your friends, basically, and they're your teachers for life. We all come with trauma. We all do. From this life, from past life, from things that even the people that have perfect lives struggle from, not having enough struggle to learn from. So this is the human nature. It's just the human nature. And I think now is the time to start talking about it.
This sounds like a big movement you're involved in here, to talk about people who are in troubled times.
I think so.
Yeah. And I think you're very passionate about that, and listening to the way you even talk here, but even knowing you, there is this drive, which is to help people who sometimes are very marginalised by life, very marginalised, but people tend to avoid this. I mean, I used to work for a place called Noah Enterprise, which is in a town called Luton. And in that town, as amongst as other towns, were a lot of homeless people who used to sit in doorways, they used to sit in train stations, they used to sit on the sides of the road. And it's what I noticed in the morning, which I thought was really sad, is that these people would be sat there, and sometimes they'd have a little paper cup, sometimes they'd have a hat, sometimes whatever. But everybody would walk by them as though they're not there. As though they're not there.
They're invisible.
Yes,
they're absolutely invisible people.
No, they're not very visible people. And it's interesting because working with No Enterprise is a charity which helps homeless people, and people have been marginalised, whether they just got out of jail, the family's been bereaved and lost the house, so they become homeless. People got divorced and couldn't find another job within weeks, or it only takes a couple of months, and that's it. You're on the streets. But then talking to these people, some of them are absolutely incredible souls, incredible people, and their stories are just. It's not all about sadness, and that's interesting here. They've got genuine stories, and I think here that's some amazing things. And it's interesting as well, because I researched this quite a lot, and I did a big talk on this about confidence, positivity. And one of the things that came out of this, the amount of people who are famous, who have at some point in their lives, whether it's been for a year, a few months, or whatever, who have been homeless, lived on the streets. Sylvester Stallone was one of them.
It can happen to anybody, any day, any day.
Was Rihanna. So was Rihanna. She was homeless. Yeah,
everybody, and it's just for some people, it's such a far-fetched reality, and it could be your child. It doesn't even have to be you. It could be your child. So you want somebody to show that kindness to them. So you got to start doing it today yourself. If you want that for yourself, for other people.
When you start talking to these people, because there are some that just say to you, can you give me £5, or can you give me a pound, can you give me 50p, can you give me some whatever? And for some of you know exactly what they're going to do with it. They're not going to go and spend it on something which is worthwhile. So My thing here is I go and buy a cup of coffee and I say, "Yeah, mate, have a cup of coffee."
Yeah.
And then they actually
But you
loved
was
it. They would then say, "I say, you okay? Have you had a meal? Have you got shelter?"
absolutely.
They're so appreciative.
Absolutely, but I want to say I've been there and I felt that I have people they have rejected food because they wanted money.
Yes.
But I learned something and I said I decide to give you something,
Yeah.
and what you do with that is your
Yes.
responsibility.
Yeah.
I have no judgment towards what you're gonna do with that. My part is just to give it to you because I don't need it and you can use it. But if you decide to spend it wrong, that's your part. And that's what we need to learn, to stop judging people.
Yeah.
Because we have also, I see a lot of this savior complex we have, especially today with social media, when we do things and we posted it all over. And I said, it feels to me like we want the world to be an equal, not equal. So we have that sort of higher ground to say, oh, look how good I am. I'm donating. I have volunteered for our children's homes, and I went to decorate for Christmas one year. And I thought I was gonna feel really good about it because I was doing something really good.
Yeah.
And I came home in pieces, having to be there and having to see what those children go through. And I came back and I said, this is not making me feel any better.
Yeah.
This is like trying to put a finger on a water pouring down on me, and I'm trying to put a finger. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. So what I decided to do is that, yes, small acts of kindness are amazing, can transform people, can change people.
Yeah.
But I want to start demanding a more equal society. I don't want people to rely on my charity or anybody's charity. I want them to have a decent job. I want them to have a decent school system, decent, and I'm just not going to make my charity something that makes me proud of myself. I want to make it a fight for equality for everybody. I don't,
Yeah.
we need more equality.
It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting as we come out of lockdown. A lot of businesses have unfortunately not going to reopen again. A lot of businesses are not, unfortunately. And some of the worst hit are the restaurants and cafes. I'm actually speaking to some school teachers today who said here that they can't take the school children back in because the schools have not been funded and they're not going to open again. This is really sad, really, really sad. So there probably is. We may well be edging more towards that bit of society where we start recognising and supporting one another more. And it's interesting because this year has been a very changing year for spirituality in itself. And I think the media have got a job to do. They probably do it very well. They do the best they can. However, a lot of people are not feeling very guided by this or feel this is a way to go. Including governments. Governments just going, well, we think this, we think that. So in the end here, it comes down to ourselves. And for ourselves, we start listening to ourselves here. When we start listening to ourselves, we're more in a place, I think, in consciousness to help people.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about you. I said, I'm no longer waiting for my government to tell me that I can open or no. I just can't anymore because they don't know what they're doing. We don't know what we're doing. So it's going to come down to us. Yeah. And it's going to come down to do it with kindness and compassion for everybody. This is not going to be a matter of transforming society by going rioting or breaking anything or doing anything like that. This is going to be a matter of people holding hands together and saying, enough. We want to know what's happening. We want to know what have you done, what we have to do, and we want to just transparency for everybody, for everything. And it's going to be hard, but it starts with, like you said, it starts with me. It starts when I choose to believe that the politician is saying, and I don't want to do my own research. I just want to believe what they say. I'm going to believe the statistics. I'm going to believe this. I'm going to believe that, because it's easier than to think for myself. And unfortunately, and I stress this a lot, it's not even to think for myself, it's to feel for myself right now. It's to see what I feel, and somebody tells me something, what is my gut telling me down here? Is that right? Is that true? Is that a good decision to make? I think we are not giving enough power to our intuition right now as a society. We are very mental minded, which I have been for a long time. And we need to, like the Tao and the Buddhists say, we need to stop thinking and start feeling. And when you come to a place of center and grounding, and you start meditating a little, you start seeing things clear. Is to be engaged in the now with what you're doing, and respond out of instinct, because your instinct know what's right and wrong. Your instinct know what's good for you, what you need, and it's the overthinking the overthinking that is causing us so much trouble in society.
Yes.
In our instinct, we know that we need to be kind to our neighbor, that we cannot go shopping for all the toilet paper that other people may need, that, that we need to share, need to share, that no matter what happens, we need to share and be together in this.
Yes.
No survival anymore. Now we need to live.
It's interesting you're saying about this because even Hui Lee says trade war. Now, one of the things I can really get involved in this here with you is when we talk about trade war, it's interesting because a lot of people who are buying stuff from China, the delivery dates are going right up to the end of July because of demand. However, if you buy from England or Europe, it's getting through sooner. So that there is a trade war going on. People are switching from buying from China. They're coming back to the EU to go and buy it. And so there is a trade war. Yeah. You're right. You're right, Wheatley. There is. And I think
it is. And also when we start shopping local ourselves, there's going to stop being interest in third world countries' products. So those people are going to be able to afford their own produce and afford their own stuff. Because right now they rather sell it to us for euros instead of the local currency.
Yeah.
So it's the same about veganism. It comes back to the same argument. Everybody should. It's the best for the planet as well. Don't forget that bringing things from all over the world just for us to enjoy for 5 minutes a piece of plastic is doing tremendous damage to the planet. We want to eat here tuna from Japan, and in Japan they want to eat cod from the Mediterranean, and it's just not natural. It's not the healthy way to live. You know, we need to resource and pay to our local farmers more, give them more money. They're doing a great job, and they're not making a living. I tell you, we have 2 or 3 farmers we work with in the restaurant, and they're struggling. And now with all this stuff, we have a farmer, a friend of ours, Andy, who delivers organic, good vegetables to people. They are sick. They could not go shopping, and he was stopped. He was stopped at the quarantine doing this. And he was really providing an amazing service for people that, for pre-existing conditions, could not go out shopping themselves.
Yeah.
They could not go out, so he was giving food. And we need to respect our farmers more, so much more, and we need to give them a better place in our society. And they're going to make a revolution. They're going to make the revolution because they're going to keep us fed when other things start to change. They're gonna, the local ones, remember that.
Okay, a couple of questions just come in here. One of them, which I noticed there, was, what does Tribus mean? Where did that name come from?
Tribus means tribe, just tribe, as in a tribe of natives. We looked around a lot for names. I think Neil Starr came up with a name. When we first named it like that, we were going for something like that. It was either tribe, native. We like the whole tribal, look and feel. Neil was born in Indonesia, was born in South America, so we have close ties to anything tribal and like that. But at the time, it felt right. But there was a few times when we were like, "Is this the right name for us?" And now, 11 years later, it's like it couldn't be more perfect. It couldn't be more right for what we built. I don't know if the name came and then we built it, or if we built and then the name came. I don't know, but it has shaped our vision of what we want to offer people, and it has shaped how we treat people. We always coming back to we are a tribe. We are a group of people that share the mentality and share a lot of things. But and we think Neil and I have this idea that that's going to be the future again. Not like in the past, but it's going to be tribes of people living in harmony together and just going back to nature. At least it's our dream anyway, with all the technology and all the modernity we want. Yes. But
I think someone's here called Neil. Is that your partner, by chance? Neil Brown?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
Yes,
there he is. Yeah. So he jumped in and said, was me. Okay, because Tribus, now it's interesting you say about tribe, because sometimes they introduce here, they say, hi tribe, how are you? And I think it's a lovely name which is going to start to come back in. Because I think people, now for veganism and tribes, I think that just goes. I think that just goes a treat. And I think if you've got something about yourselves, you've got a good group, why not call yourselves a tribe? Because rather than the old words, we're moving on to something better. We're moving on to something which means, because when you have a tribe, you have a community that supports each other. A tribe does that.
But it's also, I think, I'm a writer, so for me, words are very important.
Yes.
And words carry so much meaning beyond the meaning itself that they have in the moment. And there are certain words that you say to someone, and I feel like it relates to a more primitive part of them.
Yes.
From we all have the cellular memories, like we talk a lot, and this from our ancestors and from our lineage. And when I say it's the same with music, with certain musics, you say to someone tribe, and you say these words, native and nomads, we are nomads now again.
Oh my goodness, that's a new word, isn't it?
It just appeals to people. It appeals to your sense of wonder and adventure, and a time in history when we maybe were more free and more happy. I don't know, but I mean more in touch with nature and what was happening out there. And now we maybe lost it, but we are getting it back. That's the thing. We're getting it back.
I think so too. I think we're coming back. And it's interesting to say about the native side there, because I think we always used to think as native being who are you? I mean, you're not part of society. But society isn't working in the way it used to. Society is changing. So
No.
perhaps now we're actually coming into this tribe, and I think maybe that's a good word to have.
Well, I read by a sociologist, I can't remember the name now, that the ideal group of people is 100. When you have a group of people of 100 or less, you have a good community, you have a good tribe. And when you build higher than that number, it starts to break down into more sectarian groups.
That's interesting.
So it's something to think about, that maybe we need to think about smaller communities, one next to the other, where we can come and go as we want, but where we support each other this way. We are together this way. I don't know, it's something that occurred to me. But I think that now after this quarantine, we're going to see a lot of people migrating again, migrating towards more nature.
Start changing into different things in their lives. Okay, right. Helen Grady says, nice. That's nice. The producer says, unleash your spiritual awesomeness. And I think a little hoot to you all, a little evening hoot. I think that's nice there. Now, have you guys got any questions out there? If you've got any questions, I'll tell you what, here's a good time to start getting some questions in, because otherwise we're going to run short of time. If you've got any questions that you want to write in, you start writing in now, please. And we're having a very good evening here about spirituality. We're having a very good evening about talking about veganism. We're also talking about tribes, about being more in touch with ourselves, within our spiritual selves, our feminine selves, our masculine selves, but also it's interesting here, your tribe, up to 100 people. So dare I ask, how many people are in your tribe at the moment?
No, there's more than 100, that's for sure.
More than 100. Oh, right.
More than 100. We have a lot of people. Okay. But the interesting thing is that since we become vegan and we reopened the restaurant, and we have this different, more spiritual, we wanted to call it a holistic cafe for a little bit. We just thought it was too out there for people. What is that, holistic cafe? But this has also, again, the karma. It's like what comes around goes around, and Neil and I struggle a lot of time, and we were seeing that their lifestyle was bringing about people that were like us. They were struggling. They were in struggling with their life, with their minds, with everything. And we made this crazy decision to close the restaurant and reopen vegan, and it was really hard. It was a struggle for a long time, but we learned so much. And it's true what they say, low bottoms will teach you things that top mountains will never teach you. And we learned so much, and now we felt so ready for this quarantine, for this crisis, because we were a crisis not long ago, and we managed to sort of survive it. So, but what I mean is it has changed the people like that comes around here, like you, like Dev. We have so many people that come. They are so different to us. And it taught us so much, not just from becoming vegan and reading and that, but people for putting that vibration out there. We have received people that have made us so much richer in every way, emotionally, intellectually. I met so many healers, so many therapists. I have had free therapy from everybody basically, and they have had it from me too.
Lucky you. You look so well.
And
Right, so
exchange with people.
we've got a
It's
question
so
that's come
lovely.
in. We've got a question. Sorry to cut you short. I've just been aware of time, and we're going to talk about it here. Now, how long was it after becoming vegan did you start to feel difference?
I always struggle with my digestion, like you said before. I always have a very weak stomach. I'm a very stressed person, so I can remember exactly. I know that my digestion tract became clean within 2 weeks because I remember saying to Neil that I just couldn't believe I would wake up in the morning and feel like going to the bathroom, and the rest of my day was just like, oh, perfect. No more struggle, no more pains, no more stomach, no more bloating all the time.
That's the big one. That's the big one, is the
Yeah,
bloating. That's the big
and
one.
I don't like to tell people this. A lot of people feel bloated, and a lot of people heard this phrase: "You have a second stomach, a second brain in your stomach." No, it's because your stomach is responsible for making all the hormones for your body. You make your serotonin, your oxytocin, all in your stomach,
Yeah.
and your stomach is going to be making those hormones based on the amount of signals of distress you're sending from your mind.
Yes.
So if you're a person who is constantly preoccupied, stressing, overthinking, you're constantly sending a signal that we are under threat, we have problems, we need help. So your stomach is constantly making these hormones, and it's constantly working, never stops.
That's true.
And
That's
it's
very
having
true.
trouble
But I think
when
you're
it's so
very right.
busy. When it's so busy with this aspect, it's very no busy with digesting food properly and getting all the nutrients. And sometimes you're just passing nutrients that you're eating without them doing any impact in your food. And you're bloating. I mean, a lot of water will help. If you drink lots of water, your digestion is going to become much faster because water is going to help you irrigate everything. But what people don't like to hear sometimes is the bloating is just dog meat in your stomach, in your things,
Another question
and that makes
come
you.
in. Another question come in here. Karen Canavan says, "Do you have to take vitamin supplements when you're a vegan? You read so much about missing out on iron from meat. So do you have to take vitamin supplements?"
I do not take supplements for iron because iron is found in most vegetables and fruits. Yes, there is true. We have certain things we need to supplement. Like I was saying the other day in the little video we made. B12 is the big one. It's the one that we really need because it affects your nerve system. And I have been deficient of B12, and I know you need it.
That's interesting because even though I've spoken to doctors, normal doctors here, they all say no matter what you eat, whether you're vegan, whether you're vegetarian, or whether you eat meat, you need extra supplements of B12. So that goes with everybody.
Everything. Let's just start with the fact that food today is not as nutritious, doesn't have as much nutrient value as before because food is intense grow now. It's grown very fast and with a lot of chemicals and products. So a vegetable that is grown much faster is not going to have the time to incorporate as many nutrients. Most of our supermarket food doesn't have the same nutritional value as our parents and grandparents ate. So that's the reason when they tell you, I ate all this all my life and I was healthy. No, you ate it from a farm, properly grown, slowly, without chemicals. We're eating chemicals, we're eating pesticides, we're eating GMO food that grows really fast and it doesn't have the time to absorb all the nutrients. Now, the B12 issue is, I said to everybody, take B12 or check your B12 because it's nerve damaging and it could do a lot of damage in the long run. It takes about 2 years since you go vegan to actually get deficient from B12, so you have a lot of time. Yes, it's true that if you consume meat or animal products, you're going to have B12. But remember, those animals are being injected with B12 because the B12 comes from
what Neil's saying down here. He says they're giving B12 injections to cows, but cows don't produce it.
Exactly, because B12 comes from soil. It comes from dirt. And in order to eat organic food, we'd be eating dirt that is okay to eat because it's natural. We would not need to supplement anything. But cows and animals are not eating grass anymore. They're eating things like the feed, animal feed, soy, corn. And so those food don't have the B12 the animal needs and they need. So the animals are being supplemented B12. And like I said, if I'm going to take a supplement, I'd rather go to the pharmacy and buy my vegan supplement. It tastes like strawberry. The kids love it. One little nugget every morning, and you're taken care of. And you can do that for B12, and you can do it. I said B12, check your B12, vitamin C, vitamin D, magnesium for bone health more than calcium. Check magnesium food is so much more important than calcium. Lots of fiber if you have digestion problem. Lots of fruits. Try not to juice too much. But I think that you should just get a blood test if you're worried about it. See where you are at, and decide whether you need to supplement or not.
Sure.
Doctors will tend to make it easier and just, I don't know. I have my things with doctors, and I haven't been to the doctor. I have a 6-year-old son, and I haven't been to the doctor. Last time it was when I had him. So I think my health is doing pretty well.
Because he's a young vegan as well, isn't he? Yeah. Now, interesting. Just let you know, guys. One white cabbage. If you eat all of the white cabbage, including the middle of the cabbage, will give you more vitamins and more minerals than a whole field of lettuces. A whole field. One white cabbage. It's full of so much good. Same with red cabbage, same with broccoli, same with cauliflower. Eat all those. In fact, I was talking to a very senior sportsman who was the one of the managing directors to Wembley Stadium in the UK, and basically he had cancer, and he went to see his doctor, and the doctor said to him, he said, tell me what your diet's like. He said, just normal diet. He says, I'll tell you what I'd like you to do. For 3 months, just eat broccoli and mainly cauliflower and white cabbage, and we'll see how we go. And he says he couldn't believe it. He says, yeah, that absolutely stops the cancer in its tracks. I'm not saying it's going to happen to everybody, but for this particular guy, that's what they're saying to me. Now,
well, there's the China, where they hear people. The prescription was terrible. They hear people with apples, sugar, and something else. But it was just those 3 things. It wasn't healthy, but because it had no cholesterol and because it had no fats, people were healing from it, even with sugar, because it was a very, it was a fasting diet.
Yeah.
So sometimes we think, if I eat variety of things, I eat everything, and then I take my supplements, I'm gonna be okay. Maybe just to start from and something I want to say to people, since we added something that's gonna help your digestion and your eating a lot. If you have bad habits or problems, stop eating while doing other stuff.
Okay.
Just eat, sit down, and just eat. Okay. Because watching TV, using the phone, it can become a very bad habit for you. And I have it all the time. But the moment you say, okay, I'm gonna make food, the only thing I'm doing, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna sit and enjoy the food, then you'll see how much fuller, how much faster you get.
Okay.
With half of the food, you'll be there.
Now, as we go along here, let's have a poem. Let's have one of your poems. I think we really need to have one of your poems.
Okay, I want to read this poem. It's very short. It's one of the last ones in my book, but I think I just read it and I was like, it's quite interesting for the times we're living now. So, should I start now?
Yes. Tell us what the book is.
Okay, the book is, like I said, it's called Obscureness, and it's just it's a short poem book. I love writing poetry. I write other stuff, but I think poetry is something that you can read anywhere at any moment, and then it can leave you with something the rest of the day, an idea, a thought, provoke a thought, And I write other stuff, but I always come back to poetry because I think it's a very effective way to communicate. It's like music. It's a very effective way to communicate with people.
I agree. I think music is the international language of communication.
And it's very freeing. It's very freeing.
Yeah. Okay.
And my poem I'm gonna read is one of the last ones. So like I said, my book is about a journey into the shadows to find the light. We are there's no duality. We are made out of everything, both good and bad, right and wrong, light and dark. And that's my spiritual. What I'm at the moment is with that. I don't try to be either side. I just try to be in the middle, just to be neutral and to be center. That's good enough right now. When we are also extremists, and now to become to center is perhaps the most revolutionary act we can all do. It's really hard.
Let's see.
But it's really good.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna do it.
What are your poems?
Yes. Okay. It's called Northern Star.
Northern Star. Right.
Northern Star. Okay, I get a little nervous reading my poetry
You're
always.
doing
So
very
bear
well.
with
You've
me.
been talking very well. You don't sound nervous one little bit.
It's the head again. You see the overthinking again. Okay, it's called Northern Star. You are above. You are inwards. You are after the end. You are in the flames. You are the other side of the eternal obscurousness. You are its complement. Always in the north, in the dawn of temples. I seek for you in the cold nights. I ignore you in the clarity of days, lost in my isolation. The darkness to tear me down and the light that rebuilds. Both transform me, both knew me. And they both hang from my neck, intertwined in eternal harmony. My beautiful darkness and my beautiful lightness. And I, no Yanina, but I am the ever balancing pendulum, learning to resist with kindness.
Oh, very, very nice. Very nice. Now, if people want to
Thank
get
you.
hold of your book, can they contact you at Cafe Tribus to get hold of this? Costa Blanca?
No, you can. My book right now, I have a printer. I have it only in Spanish. You can get a digital copy on iamwords.net, or both in English and Spanish. And while you're there, subscribe so you get some of my posts and some of the crazy stuff I talk about there. I have a blog as well, and it's a spiritual blog. It's about a lot of crazy things that go in my head. But iamwords.net is my website at the moment, and you can get a digital copy of either in Spanish or English. It's not the same book in Spanish and English. I must add. I translated myself, so they're two different books.
Yeah.
I just they're two different languages, so they cannot be a perfect translation.
No, no, I understand that, but you did a great translation there. Now, we've got about 4 minutes left, 4 minutes left here. And I know you're itching to talk about this, was past life regression.
Yes, I thought we were gonna skip it, but no, let's do it because I did a past life regression with this guy, both Michelle and I did it, and we're still recovering from it. That was months ago. I was like,
Yeah.
in January, but it was a crazy. And if you're a spiritual person and you believe in synchronicities and everything, the fact that we did it before isolation started and it gave me so much material to work on and so many things to think about, I think it all came together really great. But it's an amazing experience. Like I said to people, it doesn't matter if you believe in past lives or no. I do, but it doesn't matter. I thought it was a great exercise to go places or scenarios in your mind that are very enriching and make you think about your dreams, your future, what's joy. Like we did two different lives, one of pain and one of joy, and it has given me so much perspective over the direction I want to go, how I want to live with people, how I want to live in community. And the stories were just crazy stuff. So it's just, I don't know. I just don't think you can make that up, to be honest.
Okay, no, you can't. You can't. In fact, what I'll do on the Sunday show, I'll talk a little bit about past life regression, hypnosis, and what it can do for you. But basically, what we did, we went into past life regression, and I took Yanina down two roads. One road here was going to be a life which was going to be a struggle, a previous life that she went into to be a struggle. And it was quite a struggle, wasn't it? It was quite a struggle. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I was a hermit in Siberia. I was alone my whole life in the snow with no knowledge of anything. It was. I keep coming back to this place sometimes when I go to bed, and I keep thinking about it, and I'm just like, poor damn creatures. I just think, but it was very enriching, and it was very. It had a lot to do with me about thinking and words and how this person related to the world. It was crazy. It was crazy stuff. Really, you can read about it in my blog if you want.
Yes,
I am words.
fine. Thank you. That's very much in your words there, which is I am words, which is the blog there, .net, iamwords.net. Then we went back to a past life of positivity, richness, abundance. And we say abundance doesn't necessarily mean it's got to be about loads of money. It could be something here which brings out something in you, which brings a richness in your heart to your soul. Where do you go for that one?
Well, like you said, abundance in this case for me was the lack of need of things. It was just a perfect balance where people just were provided for. And I went to somewhere in Central America, somewhere I think it was
Yes, I remember now. Yes.
South America, the U.S., like the Navajo area. And I was just this tribal grandmother who couldn't have children herself, so I sort of became the tribe grandmother, and it was so joyful. And at the end, I was surrounded with so many people, and they were so loving, and I just felt right dying. You know, it's funny to say, but it felt like it was the right passage, and it given me so much peace and so much and so much to look for in my life to think about. That's the picture. That's what I want. I want to be in peace. And because when you say about an abundant life and a painful life, what I come to think it's all down to the moment when you ask that question, how did you die? And you're
Yes.
like,
That's
and I'm like,
an interesting thing.
that's when it defines everything. It defines everything, and that got me thinking. That's that's what's gonna define my life. The moment I die,
That's
it's
right.
gonna define whether
That's right.
it was a good life or a bad life, a good or bad. You know what I mean? Like if it was well lived by me or not. And that got me thinking. I need to start thinking about that moment when I die and what I want to think and what I want to see, and that's gonna make my life get there much better and be a much enriching life and better lived by my path.
Just to end on that, there it's interesting actually. When you go into past life and past life regression, one of the things that the therapists actually do you, and I do, is I take you up to the very ending point of that particular life and look back at what the strong points were of that life and what was most important to you. And it's that journey, that experience, which you then take on up to spirit world, but then quite often here you come back down and we have a memory link to that life. Now, if it was wonderful, that's brilliant. But often we have traumas from a previous life which you bring into this life. So my job as a hypnotherapist is to help people, take people into past life regression and cut away the past lives that we don't want. But the ones we do want is to bring a bit of essence of that, bring a bit of energy, bring it back into this life and drop it into this one. So where you had that time there when you're the grandmother of the tribe and you're in South America and you had no need for nothing, what a lovely life. To need nothing.
Amazing.
Need nothing is incredible, isn't it? Yeah.
So amazing.
We have just about run out of time. But Yanina, I just want to say here, what an absolute pleasure on the show here. I think you're such a strong lady where you're so very strongly opinionated about veganism, which is beautiful because I'm going that way. I think it's lovely. I think here to hear your poetry, to hear your passion in life, and to wish you and Neil and your family every happiness in the future there. And I'm sure after the lockdown, so many people are going to want to see you. So many people are going to want to be in touch with you because they need a bit of Yanina. They need a bit of Yanina. But just say, God bless from us. And,
thank you so much for having me.
And a big thank you from the producer I know. She's out there. She's out there and she wants to give a little... And we'll
make it all happen.
We'll be back tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock a.m., which is in Spain time, 10 a.m., which is in the UK. And this is the Spiritual Astrology Show, which is myself and Guivar. And we'll be doing a fabulous show. And it's an important time. It's an important time coming up over the next few days, especially because we've got a full moon. We've got a big full moon, and it's a powerful one. And we want to know what's going on next. A few people are...
I love that show. Your show with Yamar is the best thing on TV right now in the world. I just
thank you so much. I must admit, so enjoy the show. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Don't forget, like us, share us, and post us, and give us reviews. I hope you enjoyed the show. Tell us what you liked about tonight. Tell us what you want more about, and we'll see you soon. In the meantime, now, thank you for us both here, and guys, have a nice evening.
Thank you.